Here's a bonus clip from my conversation with Spencer, my husband, that didn't make it into the whole show. Spencer, I get this question a lot. I think you do too, and that is, how in the world do you guys fit it all in? How are y'all doing all of this? And my answer is help. We have help. There's no way we could do all of this without help. But we also feel called to do all this.
I don't know. I think like going back to the boundaries and stuff. I think one of the things that we did early on in our marriage was just like an agreement, like that we don't live by comparison. So like from our expectation standpoint, like whatever another marriage says is like, this is what's normal, this is what's acceptable. Like we just kind of disregard that, like, because we just have our own standard. And so like when it comes to like the things that we want to do, what we want to do for our kids, what we want to teach them, how we want to impact our community, and how we want to have relationships. If you're just looking side to side, like sometimes like that's not the best model to kind of base your expectations upon. And so that's really helpful in terms of also like in arguments, like when, or like we're having conversations and like when you kind of take that off the table, like, well, they do it this way or they do it this way. Like that's, like kind of rules of engagement. We never bring that into our conversation because it's just about like, hey, what are our standards? And are we living up, to our standards?
I think to that point, we are in check. And there are times when I'm like, we have to make some changes. This is a lot. We are very intentional with our children, and that is a priority. So as long as that's top, everything else we just kind of take week by week, sometimes day by day. And if it's getting too much, we say no. When we do have to say no.
Well, I think that the part of the deal is as far as if you're going to add something, you kind of have to subtract something. Yeah. Either like with our businesses, either delegate it to somebody else. Like if we're going to take on something new, then you kind of have to, like, if there's an initiative or a community project that we're working on, like we're going to have to hand that off. Mm-hmm. And there were some things coming into 2020 where opportunities, but for us to collaborate, connect, interact with our community, and we're having the conversations. It was like, well, that's not realistic, so we can either do that or we can do this, and so what's it going to be? And so those are the conversations that we kind of have openly, because it's kind of like our family, it's like right here, yeah, and then our businesses, and then it's kind of like community and organizations that we're like next in. And so we're, kind of putting that and then kind of putting it in our, like, are we doing these things and are we, glorifying God in what we're doing? And like, is this, and so like, there's a point where like just being busy, like that's not glorifying. Mm-hmm. It's not helpful at all. So we try to process that and challenge one another. Like, hey, is this in line with what we value as a family and what we feel is critical to our faith and how we want to raise our kids? And if it's not, then that makes it pretty easy to focus on only the things that are most impactful.
Yeah. So to answer the question, how do we do it? We look at our priorities, and if we feel like we are in line with all of our priorities, family, business, community, then we're good. But it's week by week. And but we do have help. Like, we haven't for the last 2 weeks, but we do have help typically.
No, I think so. But also,
we can't do it without some kind of help.
And again, back to the comparison thing, like, I just think that we have, over time, have developed, you just find another gear. Like, you just kind of, and like, I've learned this, like, it's not even an option. Like, being married to you is like, just keeping up is ridiculous. And, so you just find another gear. And I think part of the deal is, I don't think there's really anything special about it, but it's just like when you become parents, it's like, how do you do it? How can you function off 3 hours of sleep or whatever? You just, there's like not another option. And so like, I kind of feel like God's put stuff in our lives and just kind of given us the the encouragement and the people around us just said like, y'all can do it.
Yeah.
And so I think we just walk in faith that that's true.
Yeah. I think always checking your intentions too. Why are you doing what you're doing? And we do that. We really try to do that. And just based on what Spencer's saying about comparing, yeah, I mean, there are some people that would never want to have the kind of full plates that we do, but that's who I am. I thrive in that, and I think that those are gifts that I've been given, and there's a reason for that. So I'm just using them, and that is not going to be the same for everyone, and I know that, but it's true to me, and I will try to always come from an authentic place. I'm very, very prayerful about decisions that I make. I move fast, but I also feel I only move fast if I feel like it's time and it is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can't speak for Spencer, but that's how I choose what I'm doing next or what I take away.
No, I just kind of feel like God, I mean, for me, I feel like God's and puts certain things in my mind and in my heart that's like totally Holy Spirit driven, and it's like I'm not like sitting around thinking about these things. They just kind of, I feel like they're there.
Visions.
And I just kind of feel like I just walk through that, and it's something that if it came across like I was like manufacturing it, then I probably wouldn't be compelled to do anything about it. So that it's not that hard, honestly, for me to decide.
When you're an entrepreneur, that's tough to determine too sometimes. But I think that when you are, I think
you're more of what I would describe as like an idea monster. It just kind of comes everywhere, and then so you have to have a little bit more discernment. Where like my stuff is like,
oh yeah,
it's much more specific. Like when I come across something, I feel like it's like really strongly about it, and I think yours requires much more discipline to kind of sort through all that and be much more prayerful about what's the right stuff.
Typically, when it's serving other people, I think that's higher on the priority list rather than making a product that pulls back your neck like this, which I did think about the other day.
And I heard about it.
It's already been done.
$1 million ideas every day. That's why I look forward to the Hallmark season, because we can just have really light conversations and get out of the business.
That is hard for us sometimes.
Yeah.
To go on date nights and not discuss ideas.
I mean, it's a love language, but
yeah,
sometimes it's nice to retreat from that.
Yeah.